right, so what do you all think about DJ Twitch?
Sad moment.
Sad moment. You know, it's a thing like when you an entertainer. See, a lot of people always tell me, they be like, man, you are not a comedian, you're just an all-around entertainer. Twitch was an all-around entertainer. Mm-hmm. When I tell y'all, I've watched him since So You Think You Can Dance. Mm-hmm. Just genius. Genius. And so, what I've always believed, I felt like this dick was getting too close to my mouth. What I've always...
Can't even be serious. Like this tall.
But what I always believe is most geniuses recognize other geniuses. Even when people did not even know who Twitch was. Mm-hmm. I've always followed him. So what I will say is that it was reported that he shot himself or something crazy like that.
He committed suicide.
That he committed suicide. So what I want to say is about what I've been going through, you just never know. Because I make people laugh every single day. And in this last 6 months, I can honestly say I considered suicide. Mm-hmm. And I just always thought to myself, like, if I did that shit, where would my son be? Because ultimately, nothing in this world matters besides your offspring.
That's right.
And
absolutely
what he would think of you. I can honestly say, if I took my own life, my son would think I was a bitch ass nigga for real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And for me, it's not only that. For me, it's like emotionally, what would it do to them?
And I don't need y'all calling the goddamn suicide number, bitch. I'm good. I'm just saying, just in case niggas was gonna try to call that fucking hotline, you know, every night in the middle of the night, the goddamn hotline.
He has us. So, for me, I would think of emotionally how it would affect my children. How would it affect them if I was to do something like that? But I always tell people, even prior to this, it's always your strongest people that you have to check up on. Because even like, for example, like everyone knows, like, you know, my family, of course, my sister Precious, who's here, she knows, like my mother passed away during this time. Her birthday's the end of November. We had our services at the end of, this month, December. And so it's not very difficult, but I think about those moments. Right. And so, but like, I don't have like, ooh, I'm going to do something to myself. But I think about those moments, like the conversations we've had and etc. And a lot of people just see the strong version of you. Mm-hmm. They don't see the vulnerable side of you. Right. And they don't visualize that because that's all they see is the strong side.
But then what about the part of you that don't like people to see your vulnerable? I don't that.
Take advantage of it.
Man,
but for me, if you're in my inner circle, you don't have to see the vulnerable side, but know that I'm still human.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Know that I'm still human and that we still need each other.
Yeah, like
and so I need you beyond your craft.
Right.
Yeah, that's what's important.
My best friend told me today, she said, we just too old to question friendships.
Yeah.
Flat out. Because I had to come, I have a male best friend, his name is Byron, and his grandmother had passed away like 2 years ago. And we fell out like a week after his grandma passed, and me knowing and being his friend and knowing what he needed at the time. Man, I was so disrespectful. And his birthday was yesterday, and I ain't talked to him in like 3 years. And something was like, people make New Year's resolutions. I feel like it don't take a resolution to do what the fuck you just naturally should do.
Right, yeah.
And being good to people is just what we naturally should do. Mm-hmm. I've never naturally been good to people. And so when I motherfucking see how my life is going present day, I'm like, I'm eating every bit of my motherfucking karma from the last 20 years of my life. Honestly. So I made that call the other day and I said, hey, B, I apologize, bro. I said some harsh things to you and we fell out over some bullshit. I can't even tell y'all what the bullshit was because I ain't rich yet. Once I get rich, boy, the comedy going to another level, goddamn. But I had to be grown and say, this was one of my best motherfucking friends. Yeah. When I ain't have a motherfucker and when he ain't have a motherfucker, this was my dog. You feel me? And So I just brought that to myself. And then the situation with my situation, I had to be accountable for the shit I was doing. Like my sister told me, you cannot be mad how a nigga get they lick back.
Yeah.
You can't. And as hard as that is, a pill to swallow, you got to swallow that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because you can't be mad how they get they lick back, but they also can't be mad how you get yours.
Yes.
So when did it stop?
Because you don't get a nigga back like that. No, all right, I'm done. I'm done. But rest in peace, Twitch.
I was watching
person.
his. I didn't follow him personally, but I was watching some of his lives the last couple of days, and the things that he was talking about. To me, it seemed like life was just getting to a point where he was more so talking about Black Lives Matter and things in our society, us getting done wrong, basically. And it was almost like, because I felt him on a level of, I'm very spiritual, so things like what I saw today, a kid back in October, Jaheim McMillan, got murdered by the police in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear nothing about that until today, where I watched a video of him lying dead on the bed and his brother crying over him, talking about, I'll give you my PS5 if you wake up. I'll give you my candy if you wake up. Just start breathing. 15 years old, that broke my heart, because I'm like, that could be my child laying on that bed.
Absolutely.
And there would be nothing on, you would have to kill me. You would have to, the police department, everybody, they would have to shoot me dead.
But
there's no way that me as a mother, I could see my son, and then the police are harassing his mother. Stuff like that is why a lot of people are deciding this life is horrible.
But
this place is horrible.
But then when you rewind it back, do Black Lives Matter? We killing each other every motherfucking day. Okay, so I work in corrections. I've been in corrections a very long time, and I'm gonna be honest with you, some motherfuckers don't ever deserve to step foot on this earth for some of the crimes they commit. Now, we're not talking about minor misdemeanors or weed charges. I mean, I've worked death row. I've worked in a place where when the inmates die, you bag the bodies up and take them to the morgue down on 2nd Street off of High. Listen, I've been exposed to things where the normal human being would never, ever be able to get out their mind. So when we talk about things like being strong, man, if people would walk in my shoes for a minute, there's things that they have never seen in life.
Yeah.
And so,
that could form, that could form problems in your life to why you act certain ways that you do.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that Black lives don't matter, but I always come to the defense of the Black community, because we were placed in these situations where, like you said, you grew up in the projects. It's live or die in the projects. You gotta survive. You don't know no love. You gotta survive. You gotta.
But we know that though. So at what point do we change the dynamic?
I think now, yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But I think now we're speaking more about it now than we did 10, 15 years ago.
Listen, there's too many politics and common sense. And that's the issue with America. That's the issue with these school districts. Too many politics and common sense. When you see there is a child with an immediate need, you give them the help immediately.
But they don't. But we live in a society where they don't do that.
They don't.
They would rather not. They would rather not. Especially when you live in poverty and you're a melanated being. They're not rushing to help us. That's why I took my son out of Columbus Public Schools, because I asked for help for him because he was failing miserably, and they would not give me help for him.
Listen, these people are not as vested as they used to be.
When were they vested?
And that's the thing. So when I was in school, there was at least morale. When I graduated from these schools,
that's why I feel like we have to be invested in our own. Like we invest in all the everything going on. I feel like you have to be invested in your own, because
we know it started at home. We know it started at home.
And not only that, we have to realize you started. Listen, we gotta have a part 2. Cause listen, we are the most gifted and intelligent.
We're the most powerful beings on
Listen,
this planet.
listen. So when I
Especially
say
black
listen,
women.
so
Man.
no, listen.
Hey,
well,
girl,
listen,
hey.
We are the most
Don't come on
gifted.
the side down.
We are the most gifted and powerful beings. Everything started with us.
Yes.
We're aware of that.
Yes.
But what happened is that mentality was stripped from us. So then, in addition to us being the most gifted and powerful, we had a lot of psychotherapy issues attached to us.
I like your haircut.
As well.
That's what I said when I got
Yeah,
my hair.
he
Why?
blushing. Look at
Why
that.
you
I ain't
act
never
like
seen
that?
them with that
Why you act
before.
like that? So you know the
All right, so look, you know what? So like this is what black people do. So anytime I've worked in a correctional institution,
Mm-hmm.
they would notice that I would gain all that power in there, and they would find a way to try to get me out.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because they feel like too many people can't sit at the table. Too many people cannot sit at the table.
But then it's like when they so listen, man, because I don't know if I should talk about this yet.
Talk
Because
about it.
I just went through
Y'all
a
in
situation.
unison. You have to talk about it.
I just went through a situation where you know, you got people who run school districts like a plantation. You know?
how they're told to.
And they put me in a situation where they forced me somewhere that I ain't want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this district been all over the news for guns coming in, and they like, hey, we know you're doing a great job here, but we need you over here. And I say, what's my incentive to go where y'all find the automatic weapons? What's my incentive to want to go and work in a building where y'all don't have metal detectors? What are y'all doing as a district to make me and his families feel safe in your district?
Because you're an asset to them as well.
But what am I going to do? Am I going to fuck my bag up, or am I going to go? So what do? I go.
Yes.
And it's not even as bad as they say it is. You want to know what it is? It's a bunch of white people who don't know how to respect and address our children.
But what we talked about, that's what
Exactly.
I said.
And so it takes, but you know, and one thing I tell people is, did I work you?
Mm-mm.
Oh, so one thing I tell
I
people
like
is,
that. Throw that one back. Like
I'm done.
so one thing I tell people, although I do not agree with Louis Farrakhan's spiritual teachings,
Man, that
I
nigga's
do-
a genius.
I did. So,
Why do you not?
So
Well,
That's
another-
my
that's
mother.
another
Hey, yo,
conversation.
Louis, come get your nigga. I'm trying to become Muslim.
because
Nigga.
I spiritual things I don't, but
I'm a
his
salam
intelligence,
alaikum, nigga.
his intelligence, I agree with, and I follow it all the way. I follow him
He's just
all
a
the way
genius,
live.
man.
And so when
That
he
nigga-
speaks about us as a people creating our own, because a lot of times we do. We go outside, like
yeah.
what we need from the White House or what we need
But
from
this is what I
Congress.
want people-
But everything we need is within
But
our
Jesse,
own.
as black people, it will never be our own. Because at the end of
It
that,
can be.
Jesse,
I'm
at
gonna
the
tell you
end
why.
of that paperwork, it's a
Uh-huh.
white man that
They
signed
go
off
always
on that
shit.
shit.
You know, but let me tell you something. No, let me tell you something. If you go to a network or you go to organizations, they sign off on it. And one point that Louis Farrakhan made he was speaking, he was one of the panelists. When you go to an organization or you go to a network, they sign off on it. It's their money. However they invested it, they gain their profits or etc. So they invest their profits, how they choose to, and etc. So then they say, with my dollars, I want to invest it in this way. I sign off on it. I'm the HNIC now. We can do that, but the issue is not all, because I'm a word person. A majority of our people are concerned about who's getting what and who's getting power.
Yeah.
If we're not concerned about that, we can gain it.
We seen
Because
that
one
with the
thing-
PPP loan.
Because one thing Bill and Bob and Mary and them are not worried about is they're not worried about who's getting power. They can cuss each other out. And I said this before at the bar.
Hey, but
But
look
when they go
what,
to the
but
boardroom,
as black
they
people, look
back
what
in.
our power is.
Thank you.
Niggas got all that bread.
They want to be powerful.
Hey, the crab legs is back at Kroger's. You hear me? Ain't been no crab boils or pig. That money's gone. These niggas back to regular. These niggas is back to waiting on tax season for their baby mama to buy them some shoes. Listen, It's going down in Columbus.
See my pinky.
Hey, who on Section 8? Who getting food stamps, bitch?
I can't
It's
get a
getting
Section
cold outside, bitch.
Can I get a Section 12?
She said,
I got 13. Can I get a 14?
Listen, we as a
That,
people need
that
to do
also
better,
is,
man.
it is. We got to come
Look at
from
the
underneath this hypnosis. We're like black people as a whole, the melanated race, we're under hypnosis. Like they have, like you said, psychology. They have stripped us of everything we know, ancestral, spiritual, all of that. And now it makes it even worse that we're in the social media era where all these lazy ass kids think they about to stay at home and do Instagram videos. And
You hear me?
Not mine.
You hear me?
Yeah,
That is
everybody but
so
mine.
like that is so annoying
Not
to me.
mine.
Ain't no
I
TikTok
literally-
and top ticking in my goddamn house.
Like
I don't give a fuck, nigga. You better not be.
We can catch
All
that
that-
real strong.
Bitch.
no, for real, like it's really sad and it makes me very like I'm glad that my children see how hard I do work as a single mom because and not only am I allowing them to form their own opinions about how life should go and how life should be, but I'm also stern on the fact that homeboy, if at 23 you ain't in college, ain't working, you gonna have to figure it out on your own. I'm not helping you no more. So, and I'm giving you until 23 because I feel like 18 is not, you're still a child. As a boy, you're still a child. 19, okay, you should be out of high school, figuring out what you want to do. 20, you should at least be in college or have a job. 21, now you know, let's see where you're going to go because you can legally drink now.
But
Let's see how you going to party.
I gave my son a younger age. So
Listen,
he my dog.
But listen, that's the unrealistic way of
yeah,
thinking.
I don't think that
Because
I'm
I'm telling
33
you-
and still don't know.
I'm
the hell
telling
I
you
wanna do.
right now, when my son turned 18, the day after he turned 18, when I looked at my son, and you know your kid, especially when you raise them from day one, it's not my son. It's like when I looked in his eyes, it was just something else. And I still see that person. And so as a mom, I've exhausted all the resources. Hey, you have insurance. Do you want help? You know,
but that's why I said if you are on the right path, if you are on the right path, because like I said with you and your son's situation, I would had never. If I tell my sons all the time, the day you go to jail for some shit you decide to do, don't expect mama to bail you the fuck out because I'm not.
Listen, but this is the thing.
I'm not.
The day it happened, it was his birthday when they posted him all over the news. You know, I knew he had a warrant, but he's a 19-year-old young man. He like, let them do their job. But once I seen they marked him armed and dangerous, and you know, you tell this nigga's not armed and dangerous, girl. This nigga sitting up in his motherfucking room with his thumb in his motherfucking mouth, bitch. If he's dangerous, show me.
I mean, you know they gonna do that regardless. They gonna paint that picture.
But they did. So what I had to explain to him, as turning 20 on June 1st, and your fucking picture's Wednesday's Most Wanted, because as I told him, I'm in the public eye. My G, I'm in the public eye. When I woke up that morning, I had 173 messages in my inbox because they like, ain't no way that's Mandy's son. Because he was raised like this. Because I've always been
But
told
you got
that.
doctors and lawyers.
You
raising
can't,
kids. People always talking about how you
Yeah.
raise your kid. I see lawyers' kids turning to crackheads. I see,
Absolutely, he makes
I see
his own
preachers'
decisions.
kids coming to
Absolutely.
But I will say, there was times where if I would text my son in the middle of the night, he don't hit me back, I can't sleep.
Yeah, that's apparent.
When I turned him in, I'm up all night waiting on his free call. Like, hey, what they doing in there? He like, man, mom, I ain't even trying to be in here. Oh, well, you go to court in the morning, and whatever you need, I'm gonna make sure I'm there. So when I'm sitting in the courtroom at his arraignment, and I see the man that come before him. He's like 65, and he had just raped a bitch off Broad Street. Yeah, I'm bonding my motherfucking son. Now my son came up next.
I agree.
He just pissed the
And
fucking judge
I
off.
feel like when you make certain choices, I feel like those consequences will humble.
But this the thing is,
Well, it would either humble you or...
Why is our culture...
That's his first
Can I
strike.
say one thing? But why is our culture so quick to say, I'm going to throw you out here, I'm not going to do it? But I watch other cultures, like like
This is-
Spanish. Like,
I'm not saying I'm gonna throw anybody out there.
I'm just asking
Yes.
a question.
Because
Yes, that's
go
true.
ahead. No, go ahead.
Like when I see
Shit.
Spanish family
Africans
and I
got
see
20
how
niggas
they
in the crib.
and Spanish.
50 to 20.
Because when I saw my son, my son, he's my adopted son, but he is my son, and he'll tell people that he's my legal adopted son.
But you know,
on
as a
paperwork.
stud, I got a bunch of motherfuckers.
But listen,
I'm just playing this out.
he is my legal adopted son. He is my son, and when he got in trouble, Dad was there. Like I was there. I was at the courtroom in Indiana, and look, I hired an attorney. Oh no, not mine. Gonna sit there. No, not mine. Because I already talked about him, and my house gonna be worse than the jail anyways. Cause he knows I will take your ass out
Because they still got to
and
do the
bury
consequences
you
no
in the
matter what.
backyard.
But the thing is, the reality is what they know is we won't take them out.
Yes,
Or the
and
reality-
also they also know the system is unfair
Exactly.
towards our people.
So like
that's
why-
reality.
why-
just like I
keep
just
them
explained to
inside
my
that you
son.
know
Yeah.
unfair.
So he's not a repeated offender.
Yes.
Right. Now, if it was something that was redundant, yes, I'll let you learn your lesson. But you're not a repeated offender, so I'm going to bring you out, and I'm going to see what choices
Yeah,
you're going
this
to make.
this is it. He got
Yes,
his first
yes.
warning. And you know, we've been dealing with the case since June, and we finally settled the case on Tuesday, and he's on probation for a year. And the only thing I'm asking him to do is go to the military. And I don't want you to really go to the military, but
What's
as
his
of
other
right
option?
now, there is none. Because along with this, it came with a lot more disrespect. And so my thing is, as the motherfucker that has always, and everybody like, Mandy, stop allowing him a soft place to land. We get it. You're the only one, but I worry. You know, my
that's
son,
parenting.
you know, I have conversations with him, and I'm just like, why are you choosing to do negative stuff? And you never really did this stuff until after 18. Yeah. He likes, well, sometimes I do positive and negative. And it's just like, he at that bridge in his life where he don't know. He don't know. He went to
know that.
Has he ever been in counseling?
Back when I put him on medicine 7th through 9th grade.
But that's the importance of that goes back to the important. I'm going to speak on that because we can't be the, we can be the maternal and the paternal, but that's the importance of having their dads in their life. And the only child that I worry about going down the wrong path, and that's why I moved and did what I needed to do for him. His dad ain't shit, and I'm the only thing he got.
You live where the money resides.
Anyway, no, you live with me. You have to like. That worries me for him, and he's the only child of mine that I really truly worry about because I see something in him that's totally different than my other. They have their dad, so
his eyes and his spirit change.
He don't.
Don't do that shit like we in elementary school. Like,
So
really
we got the
do
girl
something.
Tony and Dr.
Like, let me
Jesse
see something.
and myself, Michelle.
Jesse, you ain't a doctor for no reason. Show me something. Hey, loop that around that tongue or something. Show me something. I love red bones, puppy. My
Man, I am done.
You are light skinned.
Hey!